I know this is intense. Every time I'm here, it's intense. I remember the last time I preached, you were all like, woo. He said, Pastor Dan, woo. And then I was about halfway in, and I said, oh, Pastor Dan. Everybody went, ah. The only reason it feels this way, what I'm preaching should be so normal to our understanding. My whole Bible practically is purple, telling me what I'm to wake up and live. Now, you be honest with me. How many of us are honestly thinking about that stuff? Honestly waking up every day thinking about walking in a manner worthy of Him. Thinking about going to work and shining as a light rather than praying, hoping our boss doesn't act like a jerk. And calling that our prayer life. And mad because we got to work beside Johnny. Because he's a challenge. What did I do to deserve this, Lord? Come on. Is it okay if I relate some examples? Come on. And then we think Christianity is God intervening and changing people to suit us. Instead of transforming us to bring glory to His name in the moment. So I'm not answering for you. I'm saying weigh your own heart when I'm preaching this stuff and say, man, how much do I really think this stuff? Am I intense enough? Jesus, who was and is to come, who always was, put Himself in the womb of a woman and was born as a man, waited 30 years before He was even acknowledged. That sounds like sacrifice. And I don't think He thinks that way. I think He thinks for the joy set before Him. I don't think He's thinking, oh, it's time. I got to go down and save these people. Really? Do I got to hang out in her womb for 9 months? Really? I honestly think He was excited to come. Knowing what was going to happen from beginning to end and despising the shame, endured the cross, looking to the joy set before Him. Let's make sure we don't miss what He was seeing. Let's make sure we step into what He paid for. Because He came as a man to pay for what man failed in. This self-centered thing that I talk about all the time, it's not redundant, it's very real. If you weren't self-centered, you could never be discouraged. Oh, see, that didn't even set in my home church. That didn't even settle. I felt that bounce right back. If you weren't self-centered, you wouldn't know how to be discouraged. Because it's not about you. It's all about Him and others in His great name. And whatever it costs you isn't even about what it costs you, because you're carrying your cross. And you love not your own life unto death. And you've denied yourself, and you're following Him for one purpose: to make Him known and reveal Him. She said, but I never get a fair shake. But how long do I? But they abused me but they've been doing this to me. But how long? Well, how would you feel if you were in my shoes? No, we're talking about from His shoes. For 3 years He spoke, and they contested Him. And He just kept speaking. He didn't do anything wrong. He just kept doing what He's doing. When He's on the cross, what's He say? Father, forgive them, Man, when I read the stories, it sure looked like they knew what they were doing. And couldn't you talk yourself into an alibi? Well, they knew what they were doing. Well, they never want. Well, they always just want to do what they... And all of a sudden, you come up with a language that justifies your attitude, but your attitude's not producing Christ. And now you're just as deceived as the people you have your eyes on. See, this thing's all about manifesting Christ. How many ways is there? One way, and it's called the. It's a narrow way. Watch. Confined is the way. Some translations say difficult is the way. And few are those. This is stuff we read over and say nothing about. But I'm going to talk about it. I got the mic. And few are those who find the way. But millions go to church. Millions are in ministry. Thousands and thousands are preaching the word. But yet my Bible says few are those who find this the way. It's a place of surrender, not taking account of suffered wrongs, not letting where somebody is or isn't decide where you are. If it ain't Jesus, it ain't moving me. Why? He's the way. He's the Lord. See, there's a problem. I've counseled people. I've been a pastor. I got a problem. I know how we've been thinking. I get alone in a room, cry. Will he? Will she? Will you? Don't know. And it just sounds like a soap opera saga. And sometimes the counseling sessions help me. If you look at it, it sounds like the people talking never heard the gospel. And then we're supposed to be sensitive because they're hurt. And my question is, see, I can talk corporate right now because I got the mic. My question is, why are we so touchy? Why are we so hurt when love takes no account of a suffered wrong? So how can you make your story good enough when love doesn't understand your story? I'm not being insensitive. We've all been through it, guys. Look at the color of my hair. I've lived enough life to talk like this. Don't say I'm being insensitive. That's ridiculous. That's a cop-out. Well, he don't understand. Stop it. What you're saying is I'll be the same tomorrow. Here's another one I hear all the time. You've heard this. You give them the word, yeah, but it's hard. Did you ever hear that? Oh, man, Rick just went over. And Rick's so kind and gentle. But what happens when they say, yeah, but it's hard? What do you already know? They're going to be the same tomorrow. They're opting out of the truth and selling themselves cheap when they're not supposed to be for sale. And what they're saying is, you don't understand. You're not in my shoes. It's hard. No, listen, why is it? Well, it's really hard. Because you haven't been in it with me. You don't understand. And what you're saying is you're counseling, but you're defending where you're at, which is suffocating, and you're saying I'll be there tomorrow because it's hard. You're saying the answer's hard. No, the answer's life. Are you all with me?